I was scrolling Twitter, oh, I mean X, the other day, and as I was scrolling through the standard ads, Elon Musk complaint posts, and the latest clickbait, I came across a post titled, "The Paris Olympics, the Worst Olympics Ever." And I was like, that can't be true. Other than the crazy arsonists, cardboard beds, and homeless athletes, the Olympics was pretty great. But that got me thinking, there must have been worse things going on in past Olympics. After all, it's been going on for like 200 years, right? I mean, the answer is probably no, but I still need to see. In fact, way back in 1900, they actually banned, in some people's opinions, the best sport. It was called pigeon shooting. It was where a bunch of snooty rich folk would, with a gun, a blaster, gently incapacitate a live pigeon, which of course the CIA banned because they didn't want people to shoot their secret government surveillance drones all the time. I'd like to see Mr. Turkey, not that turkey, try to compete with gold medalists like Achille Paroch or Zolko van den Berg, because they were pretty good. And honestly, with names like that, I too would probably try to rebel against the government. But in all seriousness, whoever decided that pigeon shooting should have been an Olympic sport should probably also get a medal, preferably shaped like a target, so that Mr. Berg knows where to fire his blaster. And no, not on myself. I guess that back then, rich people didn't really have Call of Duty or anything to pass the time. So they looked at nature to be their pastime and their playground. In fact, the 1900s Olympics also took place in Paris, and it was considered to be one of the most mismanaged Olympics ever. It seems like the French can't get much right other than bread and escargot. At the same time, pigeon shoot, oh, I mean blastering, was occurring, the cross country team was doing whatever cross country people do. Apparently, part of the course involved running through a power plant, which personally I could have done just fine, but I guess to people back then, this was some kind of serious issue. Now, little did they know that the power plant was known to release toxic fumes that made the runners delirious. In fact, a bunch of them actually started puking and passing out on the pristine French countryside, which I can only assume caused a response from Frenchmen to be like, ho ho ho, get off the lawn. The medics on guard were completely unprepared to find a bunch of sick, crazed runners running around, some of whom had disappeared entirely. Ultimately, they had to go searching for these people, which probably didn't end well on the minuscule budget they were accommodated. So, next time they had the Olympics, in St. Louis this time, 1904, they decided to learn some lessons. They ultimately decided to call off pigeon shooting, and they decided to replace the noxious cross-country run with a far more exciting sport, the marathon. Now I'm pretty sure the marathon has existed since like Greek times, but clearly the organizers of the 1904 Olympics didn't seem to get the memo. I assume that the organizers must have been planning the marathon like this. Okay, so we need a place for these world-class athletes to run. Where should they go? How about in the 90-degree heat in the middle of the desert. Yeah, what a great idea. Let's also put some dust so they all die from pneumomono ultramicroscopo silico volcanoconiosis. Needless to say that because of the bombastic conditions these planners had put them in, the runners all decided to also bring automobiles by their side to carry whatever supplies while marathon runners use. I don't know. I don't run marathons. But again, the organizers neglected to consider the trolls among us because multiple people just decided to hitch a ride down to the finish line instead of, actually running. And if that wasn't diabolical enough for you, the organizers gave this one guy a bottle of brandy, which is apparently supposed to make him extra fast, as I obviously know it does, with the secret ingredient being, get this, extra rat poison to really kick it into high gear. But the best part of all this was this mailman in Cuba who simply hitchhiked into the US to compete in the marathon, and I mean with no prior running experience, which meant that obviously, at one point, he just decided to jump into someone's orchard and start munching on apples, the same way yesterday at 3 a.m. I was munching on last night's Chinese food. So, to sum up this Olympics, the leaderboard consisted of a prankster who literally drove a car to the finish line, a drunk industry insider who may or may not need urgent medical care, and a hitchhiking mailman who got lost on his way to the Amazon distribution center. So as you can see now, the Olympics were never good. Paris sucked back then, and clearly they've learned no lessons since. And basically, we're all toast. If you want to hear more stories like this, feel free to like and subscribe.